It's our DC101 At Home Hangout presented by GEICO. I'm Mike Jones, and I'd like to welcome in Eric and Adrian, Black Pumas.
Thank you very much, Mike Jones.
Hello, boys. Hello, hello. Now, Eric, I got to ask you something right off the bat. This microphone I'm talking into, this is probably the same model that you had at Capitol Records when you guys were in Studio A a couple weeks ago doing that.
Sure. The RE20 is one of my favorite mics, for sure.
How can I make my voice in this microphone sound as good as your silky smooth voice? Because I've tried for many years on this same microphone. It doesn't work. You got to give me your secret, dude.
You got to hit the Santa Monica Pier for about a couple of years with no money or food, with the task to make enough for lunch by, 12 o'clock at the subway.
Well, we're going to talk all about the pier and how this has all come together pretty fast for Black Pumas. Like 4 years in, guys, and most bands, I was saying it actually this morning, most bands are just barely scratching the surface 4 years in. You guys, 4 years in, you got the record, you got the Grammy performance, the inauguration, and this is just the beginning. Like, does this even seem real to you guys for what's happening in such a short time?
No way, man. We're completely blown away. How you feeling, Q?
Yeah, it's a little surreal, to be totally honest, man. We have to do things to keep grounded. We have to definitely just kind of keep on working on music and live our day-to-day lives, but it's quite surreal.
Well, I want to talk about the story for each of you guys. Eric, let's start with you, man, because like you said, it was only a couple years ago. You're on the pier in Santa Monica. So can you talk about that and tell everyone how you went from the pier there, actually even getting to the pier every day? Because I know that was a big pain in the butt for you, but doing that to now being in Austin with Adrian and doing Black Pumas.
Yeah, most definitely. I took a year hiatus from college to help out with mom and family in the middle of Los Angeles, California, where I met a cousin who went to school for business and thought that it would be a good idea to start managing my movement as a musician in Los Angeles, California. I eventually made my way to the Santa Monica Pier on my own with some T-shirts and just merchandise that I had for myself to kind of make a little bit of money to bring back by the end of the week. And, I met a few people along the way. I took I think it was 3 buses and a couple of trains to get to Santa Monica Pier from Athens, California. And, short story shorter, I met a couple of guys who, I just clicked with musically. We made, enough noise to cut through what you might hear as a tourist in Santa Monica on an everyday basis. And, it eventually got easy enough for us to get brave enough to start traveling with it. So we hit the Northwest, pretty much the entire coast, to then make our way back down to Austin, Texas, where I met Adrian Casada in 2017, late August.
So it's every day you're hitting the bus. What time would you get on the bus? Because I mean, if you want to get your spot out on the pier, you got to do that really early in the morning, right?
Most definitely. I was up at 6 or 7 in the morning.
That's way too early for a musician. No thank you.
Yeah, man, I was up pretty early to get down there. It took forever to get there. So I would actually busk on the train on the way there sometimes. And so I would attribute my balance as well to learning how to stand up for 1 minute and 30 seconds from stop to stop on on the red line to, let people know about who I was, where I'd been, and where I was trying to go.
And that's a good way also, you can warm up. If you're not so good on the bus, it's not the main event. It's the practice show before I get to the real deal on the pier.
Most definitely. And I made a lot more money on the pier. When I met my friends, they kind of put me up on game as far as what permits to get, how early to be there, to put your name in the fishbowl of artists and vendors who wanted a shot at making, money on the pier where, everyone and their mom comes to, from around the world.
And that's something I didn't know. I saw that you were talking about that. I didn't realize to go and play on the pier, you actually have to have a permit. You have to be picked that day. What would you do if there was a day that you didn't get selected? Would you and the guys take up and go somewhere else, somewhere nearby?
Most definitely. We would busk on the promenade and just find a place on the boardwalk where you didn't need a permit. And, if we were doing well enough that week, we would just kind of take the day off, go surfing, play volleyball, talk to a few of our friends who were kind of everyday, visitors there.
Mm-hmm. And do you miss surfing now that you're in Austin? I don't know. Surf's not up too much in Austin, is it?
Most definitely not. So, to a degree, I do miss it. And luckily, Adrian and I both have been hit up by the Burton Company. So I think I might get into snowboarding here shortly. I've got a really good friend who does that. So,
Wait a
one
minute.
thrill to the next.
Hold on a sec. Where are you snowboarding in Texas, Eric? You gotta I don't remember when I was in Austin there being many mountains to go snowboarding on there.
I would probably go back home to my family where I attended college in New Mexico. I've got some really great places to do a bit of that. And, I've never done it before, but I'm always open to new things. One of my friends wants to take me skydiving. I don't know about that yet, but
that's
we'll see. Maybe we'll make the second record before I put my life in jeopardy.
Snowboarding first, and then we'll work our way to the skydiving. Well, boys, Adrian, I want to hear your story too. Can we get a song and do that? Your part of the story next.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah,
that'd be awesome. Well, it's our DC101 At Home Hangout presented by GEICO with Black Pumas. What are you guys going to play for us?
We're going to play a song called October 33. We hope you dig it.
October 33, I wear it on my soul's back like fair, fair, fair. And I can hear the brass ring, I hear it in the nosebleeds, where you once felt your cold breeze. Think it was Halloween, yeah, I've got your number lonely. October 33, and that's a cold fact, like fair, fair, fair. So hold me down, like you know how, darling. Hold me now, like you feel my flight. I've got your number. I do shares, ooh, alone in the bed, I'm singing love where you at, yes I do. Ooh, I've got your number lonely, October 33. Your love's my only good thing, like fair, fair, fair. If you hear the birds sing, I'll help you capture your dream. Let's see it in the present and try to let it be. Oh my, I've got your number lonely, October 33, I'm knocking at your door, baby, like fair, fair, fair. So hold me down, if you hear the band play, then listen to my heart say, it's gonna be a good day, October 33, I've got your number, baby. I do, 'cause I can see it and I can feel it in my observations. Alone in the back, I'm sending love where you at. Yes, I do. Yes. Ooh, I'm singing love. Holds me down, brings me high. Fair, fair, fair. I said loving shows me how to dream again. Love, standing to my feet again all night. Right on, yeah. I do, I need you, and I love you. 'Cause I know that you've been alone in the back. I'm sending love with it. Yes, I do. Yes, do. So cruise with me. Let us do what we need to, be who we need to be, and love. If you're dying in the back, I'm sending love where you at. Yes, I do. I'd like to leave you with a few words. You know what she said? She said, love. Let it show you how to dream again, baby. Ooh, I got to have it, love, yeah. Show me how to stand to my feet again. Hold on. Ooh, I got to hold on, so hold it down. Hold me down, baby. Ooh.
That was unbelievable.
Thank you very much.
Dude, that was
out on guitar.
awesome. It's Black Pumas, our DC101 At Home Hangout presented by GEICO. And Eric, we got a bit of your story. Not the whole thing. We could go for hours talking about your whole story. I want to hear, Adrian, your story now, man. Are you born and raised Austin, Texas, or from the Texas area?
I am from Texas. I'm from South Texas, a town called Laredo, which is 3 to 4 hours from Austin.
Okay. So, but you've been in Austin for quite a few years
Most
now.
of my life now. Yeah. Yeah. I moved over here like literally 2 days after I graduated high school. I never went back. Yeah.
You're like, peace out, Laredo. See you later.
I was literally packed. It's funny. My room was completely packed up and ready to go like 2 weeks before I graduated high school.
Was there anything you left at mom and dad's house, or did you just take it all?
It's funny that the first time I came up here, I remember my parents were like, damn, like you're taking a whole tour bus. Where are your books? I had so much music stuff and everything. But yeah, I was ready to go. This was the nearest town where I could go to college and still do music, but still be close to my family.
Yeah. And so were you playing music, I guess, all through high school and everything? Had a bunch of bands before you got there to Austin?
In high school, I had just started playing in early high school, and I would jam with some people, and I started a band with 2 other guys my junior year, and then my parents grounded me for half of my senior year. So like literally half my senior year, I couldn't leave my house. But I finally convinced her to let me go to the drummer's house and let us practice and keep our band together. So I would Friday nights we would practice, but I wouldn't say I was really in a lot of bands. I was in one band in high school.
Okay. Well, now we got to ask, what'd you do to get grounded for half a whole year? I mean,
I actually don't remember. If I really, really thought about it, it might've been a few different things, maybe some of which I couldn't really mention on the air, but I don't remember exactly why, but it was a long time.
But that's cool though. So you made your way 2 days out of high school, you go to Austin, never look back. And, let's not forget, it's not just Black Pumas. You had Groupo Fantasma before, and you guys won a Grammy. I mean, you did a lot of stuff with Groupo.
Yeah. I was in that band for 13 years, and they're still around.
Mm-hmm.
They're on 20 or 21. I actually had lunch with the other guitar player yesterday. Yeah, there a couple of those guys were from my hometown as well. So we all kind of moved out and moved to Austin, you know, within a 1 or 2 year period. And yeah, I was in that band for 13 years. It was a long time. At that point, that was the longest I had ever done anything in my life. You know, that was a long time to be a part of something, and it was incredible. It was a big band, a big learning experience for me that I, you know, carry on to this day, and how to function with a large group of dudes in a band and be on tour and hit, you know, highs and lows and all that. So it was an incredible experience. I wouldn't go back and change it all.
And get to play so many different styles too. Cause I saw, well, not just Groupo, but you guys also got to play with Prince and a ton of other people over the years too. I mean, that's pretty big time. You must be doing something right to get to play with Prince.
Yeah, it was all like I said, all just like, I look back on it, just an incredible musical education. You know, I really learned so much, and I learned musically, just, I was, you know, there were so many styles that were out of my comfort zone that I was really getting into. And because the band was so large, it was like at any point, probably 10 members, you really learn the importance of ensemble playing and not being a selfish guitar player, you know, which a lot of lead guitar players tend to be like, look at me. And I had to be part of this big machine of like, how do I contribute? How's everybody contributing here and not stepping on toes?
More of like an orchestra style.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you guys come together then? Eric, you come to Austin, and Adrian, I don't know, what did you guys meet through a friend or something? How does Black Pumas come to be then?
Yeah, we met through a friend. I come to Austin, you know, hungry as ever, you know, trying to conceptualize a solo album. Myself, I, you know, met a couple of guys that I wasn't quite happy with. So I started building my own home studio to get those sounds. While doing that, Adrian came into play. I'll let him take this.
Yeah, in 2017, I had a few instrumentals I was kind of working on and wanted to find a collaborator, but it wasn't really like with the intention of starting a band or anything. Like, you know, Eric was collaborating with different producers, and, you know, I would work on things here and there with other artists, and I just reached out to a mutual friend and asked him. Actually, before that, I had actually asked a lot of producer friends around the world, just, you know, hey, do you guys know anybody that would be into this kind of soul type project? And everybody would send me a name or a suggestion or check out this such and such person. I actually never reached out to anybody until a mutual friend of ours named Brian Ray told me about Eric. So I Googled him and watched some YouTube videos and things like that. I honestly didn't really even know some of the busking backstory at first. I saw him playing in some clubs, and then I eventually saw a little documentary. But yeah, I just reached out and we connected, started by just kind of collaborating in the studio a little bit. But the first day we knocked out 2 songs that were our first 2 singles, Black Moon Rising and Fire. And
did you guys write them and produce them, everything that day?
Just about, yeah. I mean, I sent him to Eric ahead of time, and he was writing a little bit before that, and we probably tweaked them along the way. But I mean, yeah, he showed up with that fire, you know. But no,
Eric, you got to be feeling pretty good. Day one, you're knocking out 2 songs with your new man here.
Most definitely. And I was inspired right away. You know, I didn't know the music was going to sound the way that it did, but, you know, of the friends that I have, you know, they had a lot of high praises for Adrian, who I didn't know at the time. And we got together and pretty much knocked it out of the park, you know, at least for ourselves was the thought. You know, we were having a good time. We didn't know that everyone else was going to also be having a good time listening.
And Adrian, are we talking to you guys? Is this your studio, by the way?
This is, yes.
So
this was not where we cut the album. So I've since moved into a bigger studio, but we did cut the album at my old studio, which was in my house.
Okay. And was there any trepidation from you, Eric? Like first day you're in there, like, man, this is like, I better step my game up. My man's got some serious equipment and everything going on here.
Yeah, man. I mean, I get nervous meeting anyone, especially if we're collaborating. It's almost like dating. You know, as weird as that sounds for people in this kind of a situation, it is very reflective of that dynamic. But we just had a lot in common. You know, Adrian knew some things that I didn't know that I now integrate in my songwriting and the way that I present myself. And I believe that I probably add, you know, a little bit of a spark for him, especially from the very beginning, that kind of allowed us to keep going.
It's pretty cool too, because you guys have such different backstories, but then to come together, to have that instant spark and everything. I mean, you got to be feeling good from day one. How long was it until you had written some more songs together from that point?
Man, I feel like we've been writing since we met each other. Yeah, it hasn't really stopped. Just the the amount that we're able to do has varied, from being on the road to being quarantined till now.
But do you guys live close by that it's not a problem every day? You can, like, over the past year, especially, have you been seeing each other pretty much every day to get business done?
Kind of, but as it pertains to the making of the music, thank goodness for the internet and Wi-Fi. We're able to kind of send each other ideas and kind of gather our thoughts on it upon going into the studio in the first place. And so, thankfully for us, that we've been in this kind of retrograde period in the industry trying to make it. It's caused us to kind of go back to that place we call home, which is, being a studio project, sharing ideas between the both of us to then, present to the rest of the band.
Now, I got to ask you guys about the Grammys. I know we're kind of fast forwarding ahead from meeting, and then now, hey, 4 years later, we're playing the Grammys. Such a huge performance. I know you guys made a lot of fans that night. It just seemed like you were so locked in playing Colors. Like, was the adrenaline flying so high, but you got to reel it in quick because you're like, man, you know what? We're on TV. We got all these people around us, Billie Eilish and Phineas and Harry Styles and Haim. But that had to be such a cool moment because you guys seemed like you were on top of the world, but so cool about it too.
Yeah, it was, to be totally honest, sometimes with things like that, we have to see it in context on TV to fully realize like, oh yeah, we were locked in because, with productions and nowadays with not playing to an audience and playing, live streams and pre-taped performances, to be honest, sometimes after a long day of shooting and everything, it's easy to sort of start losing that steam. There's nothing like having an actual audience in front of you where you're like, okay, yeah, this is where I'm putting the energy out, and they're giving it back. So it was a little bit, it took a little bit getting used to, but I think once we step back and are able to watch it, kind of same thing with the inauguration. Once we watch it, you're like, oh yeah, okay, that was really good. It's easy to get in your head when there's nobody there giving you feedback,
Sure. And that was the other thing I was going to ask you guys about. The inauguration was your last performance, like public performance before the Grammys. It had to be the same too. You're like, holy crap, we're a part of a new president coming into office today. Like that's pretty big time.
It was a big deal for the both of us, man. I think that we were probably equally nervous. But we were just proud. We were proud that our voice was being utilized to bring in the new and to bring in some positivity, to a place that really needed it. I feel like we were lucky to have recorded Colors together in the way that we did, that it is reflective of, where society is to a major degree. Now, when I wrote that song, I didn't realize, the effect that it would have after so much time. It was written about 10 to 11, 12 years ago.
Isn't it funny too? Like, you've had that song forever, Eric. I saw some videos of you out there on the pier in Santa Monica singing it, and it's kind of taken a different shape over the years and everything. But for that song to be one of your first things, and now it's everywhere. Like, you've been on the journey forever, but it's got to be cool to see new life to your baby, and such huge new life to your baby.
Most definitely. And what surprises me the most is that even with all of the attention that we've garnered together as a dynamic duo, as part of the Black Pumas, a lot of my friends who have heard that song, played by me just with an acoustic guitar, some of them, like, surprisingly still just like me doing it myself. But I would be remiss not to admit that, Adrian's production style in the studio and recording that with the band that we do have, they clearly and most definitely brought just a whole new life to it. So we're both very excited.
Absolutely. Well, we've been playing it on DC101 and our iHeart radio stations all around the country. I think, guys, if we're talking about it, maybe this will be a good time to play it for everyone for our DC101 At Home Hangout. What do you think?
Let's go for it.
Let's do it then. All right, Black Pumas with Colors. It's our DC101 At Home Hangout presented by GEICO.
These fancy, expensive pieces of furniture, they'll go out of tune on it if you don't check them. All right, here we go.
baby blue just like we rehearsed. When I get up off this ground, I shake a leaf back down to the brown, 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 till I'm clean. Then I'll be shaded by the trees, by a meadow of blue, for about a mile. I'm headed to town, town, town in style, with all my favorite colors, yes, all my favorite colors, right on. My sisters and my brothers see it like no other, all my favorite colors, right on. So good day to be, a good day for me, a good day to see my favorite colors, colors. My sisters and my brothers see them like no other, all my favorite colors. I'm on the other side, just dreaming, where the baby blues birds fly, see 'em fly again. And gray clouds, white walls, blue skies, we gon' fly, feel alright. And if you feel alright, help me feel alright. Now we gon' yeah. They sound like yeah. The least I can say, I anticipate a homecoming parade as we renegade in the morning, babe. Sweet morning, with all my favorite colors. Yeah, we play the song, all my favorite colors, right on. My sisters and my brothers see it like no other, all my favorite colors. So good day to be, a good day for me, a good day to see my favorite colors, colors. My sisters and my brothers see them like no other, all my favorite colors, right on. They tell them go home, I got a feeling I'm getting stronger every day, babe. DC, and if you can hear me, got all my favorite colors, darling, right now. Gonna bring me round. With all my favorite colors, right on. All my favorite colors, yes ma'am. My sisters and my brothers see them like no other, all my favorite colors, right on. So good day to be, a good day for me, a good day to see my favorite colors, colors. My sisters and my brothers see them like no other, all my favorite colors.
And wow. Black Pumas, colors. It's our DC101 at home hangout presented by GEICO. I'm Mike Jones. Guys, I want to talk about a performance you have coming up soon. It's a charity gig that's a live stream show on April 10th. It's you, it's Alanis, Ben Folds, Leon Bridges. It's the Set Break live stream event for mental health for musicians. I think that's such an awesome thing. You guys are being a part of that.
Most definitely. And we're always game for those conversations. I myself live right across the street from a music writer of Austin, Texas, who's supporting the Sims Foundation. So shout out to those folks who take really great care of us, especially in these peculiar times that has been being quarantined, civil unrest, pandemic. It's, you know, the list just goes on of how we're all affected. So yeah, it feels great to be a part of that conversation.
Absolutely. Anytime, you know, we're champions for mental health with DC101, with iHeartRadio. Anytime we can have that conversation, keep it going. That's awesome. So I want to tell everyone, you put the link up. It's on Twitter at Black Pumas, or you can go to backline.care to see the show again. That's on April 10th. And also, you guys got a beer. Actually, you guys have 2 beers now, which is pretty awesome. Like,
that's right.
Ain't too bad when you have your own beer.
We'll have to send you guys some.
I mean, look, I'm not going to say no to some free beer. The second one, so it's the Stay Gold.
No, you got to pay for it.
Oh.
Well, actually, we got a discount code we can send you.
Christina, can you expense that for the company? She's saying yes. All right, good. That's a company business expense then. Now, you guys have the Stay Gold Ale and then the Stay Gold Deluxe Double IPA. Which one do you guys prefer, the heavy duty or the regular one?
Upon we've only tasted the new one one time, I think, and I think that I'm gonna have to say I would go with that new one with the deluxe.
I mean,
they're both good.
They're both pretty good.
Yeah, you're getting the bang for your buck with 8% too on that. So that's
exactly.
When you only need 1 or 2 and you're good to go.
Doesn't even taste like 8%. It'll sneak up on you. Be careful with those Black Puma beers out there.
Is there any talk about it going nationwide, or is it just going to be a small, like in Austin and Texas area beer?
I think that conversation has been initiated. I don't know that either of us could speak to the specificities of it. But yeah, I think so.
Okay. You know what? I'll say it then. Black Pumas beer, coast to coast, very soon.
Let's go.
It is coming. And boys, before we end our DC101 at home hangout, this has been a lot of fun. And thank you guys for doing this. What's next? It's, you know, we're only 4 years in with Black Pumas. It seems like you guys have done so much already, but there's so much more to come that we've just opened up a new door recently. So what's to come with you guys?
New music is in the works. Very much getting there. I mean, we our schedule doesn't seem to slow down. So just when we think like, all right, we're gonna finish this, you know, but we've been chipping away in various stages, and for the first time, it's feeling real that we're gonna try to execute and see through some of these new ideas, you know, that have been in various stages for a while now. It's definitely seeing like, okay, there's light at the end of the tunnel here for some new music.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear what's next and see you guys too. And if we're expensing the beer, you know, drink some of your beer too. I'm going to be all about that too. Last question. What's your favorite place to eat in Austin? Because I came there for my honeymoon. I loved it. We had such an awesome time. What's the favorite place for each of you boys?
For me, mostly for convenience. I live right around the corner from a place called Gourmands. You know, great drinks and, you know, sandwiches. And you know, it's a really good place if there's always just beautiful women around. And I've asked one of my very beautiful friends why she goes, and she's like, "Well, I just love their sandwiches. They got food and they got drinks." And so, you know, women like to eat. Apparently, here we go.
All right, so it's Gourmands. And what about you, Adrian?
Gourmands is great, man. So many good places. It's kind of hard to keep up. I will say, like, a recent new favorite is a Mexican spot that's kind of like more adventurous cuisine, like Mexican cuisine, take on Mexican cuisine. It's called Nixta, Nixta.
Okay.
And it's in East Austin as well. Put that one down. That's like, those are mind-blowing tacos right there. And that's, you know, it's, since I'm from South Texas, I'm like, don't reinvent the wheel sometimes with Mexican food. And I'm like, you know what? I'll hit up an old school taco truck. But that's one spot where I felt like, okay, I went in there and was like, okay, mind blown for sure. They're elevating the formulas, you know?
Yeah. Like when we were there every morning, we stayed right around the corner from Joe's and we got the breakfast tacos every morning. And I was like, hey, more Mexican food, the better. I love it. Well, boys, this has been a lot of fun. Ladies and gentlemen, Black Pumas, you know, so much more to come, so much going on right now. Guys, thank you so much for doing our DC101 at home hangout presented by GEICO. This has been great.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
DC101. You guys have a great one.
Appreciate it, guys.